Wine is really confusing. You've got a bottle that says Rioja, one that says Viognier, and then something like Burgundy, which tells you absolutely nothing unless you already know. The reason for it is actually pretty simple. Wine wasn't designed for supermarket shelves. No, it was designed for locals who already knew what they were drinking. Let's delve in a little bit further. Let's go back a few hundred years. In places like France, Spain and Italy, people weren't walking to shops and comparing labels. No. They were drinking local wine just from down the road. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? Just down the road. I need that. So instead of saying, this is Pinot Noir, or this is Chardonnay, they'd say, this is from Burgundy. This is from Rioja. Because the place already had a reputation. People knew what style it would be. They knew what it would taste like, whether it was good. So the place became the name of the wine. Now here's where it gets interesting. Over time, these regions became protected. So take Burgundy, for example. If it says Burgundy on the label, if I find one, red wine, it's a Pinot Noir. Always is, always will be. White wine, it's a Chardonnay. Don't have one here. That's because in their eyes, the place matters more than the grape. Same with Rioja, okay? It's mainly Tempranillo, but again, it doesn't say. Compare that to somewhere like Australia, Chile or California. Now these regions are much newer in wine terms. They don't have hundreds of years of reputation behind specific places. So instead, they flipped it, made it simple. Here's what's in the bottle. Do you want a Sauvignon Blanc? This is a Sauvignon Blanc. Do you want a Malbec? This is a Malbec. Look, it says it on the label. Viognier, that's what it is. So if you liked a grape, you knew what you were getting. And that's why wine feels confusing. Because you've got two completely different systems sitting next to each other on a shelf. Europe, named after a place, as a general rule. New World, named after the grape. So here's the easiest way to think about it. If it's European, think place. If it's New World, think grape. And then Burgundy just sits there being deliberately unhelpful. Let's have a look at a few examples, shall we? Okay, so staying with France. Burgundy. Pinot Noir. If it's a red, it's a Pinot Noir. If it's a white, it is a Chardonnay. Always. Then, elaborate a little bit further. Top of Burgundy, a region called Chablis. Again, Chardonnay. The difference in this region is basically the style is made to be very steely, very clean and mineral, very little oak influence. And that's why people go for Chablis. Not because it's a Chardonnay, because it's the style of the wine it makes. But it will always be Chardonnay. Another two that always confuse people. Pouilly-Fumé and Sancerre. Opposite sides of the Loire River, on the banks there, both Sauvignon Blanc. Okay? But we don't say Sauvignon Blanc on there. No, it's a Sancerre and a Pouilly-Fumé. You should know. Come on, guys. Portuguese wine. Love Portuguese wine, but it can be sometimes hard. A lot of the time, they're just well known for doing blends because their grape varieties work better as blends. And they're very long-winded names. So instead of having all these different grape varieties written on the bottle, they tend to have, again, a stylistic region and name. It just works better. Côte du Rhône, you'll have heard of that. Côte du Rhône, what the hell's in it? Well, they have very set rules. There's a certain amount of grapes you can use in the blend and certain ones. And it's got a style, and that's the style you're buying into. A Côte du Rhône with your Sunday dinner. That's just what it is. You don't need to know what's in it. Let them do that. Côte du Rhône. Rioja, we discussed that. Always a Rioja, you get white Riojas, red Riojas. It's to do with the region. It's got to be made in there, come from there. Again, rules of which grape varieties can be used. But we all love a Rioja. You know what you're getting. Chianti. Italy, although Italy's New World, we've got this confusion of what's a Chianti? Grape variety? No, it's not. Predominantly Sangiovese. Allowed certain different grapes in there on certain regions, depending if you're in the Classico, the centre of Chianti, which is in Tuscany, by the way, or if you're on the outskirts and it's just Chianti. But again, it's a stylistic name. Finally, we'll go to Bordeaux. Margaux. Doesn't say what's on it. You're meant to know. You'll have heard of Margaux before. What is it? Well, it's a red wine coming from the left bank of Bordeaux. It's predominantly going to be Cab Sauv with a Merlot blend, because Cabernet Sauvignon grows best on the left bank, and that's the style of it. Chateau tins here, you've got a Saint-Emilion. What's that? That's a right bank. That's predominantly Merlot, because that grows best. But you might have Cab Franc in there, or Cab Sauvignon, depending vintage and the grower. But predominantly you're meant to know and understand it's predominantly Merlot. So sorry guys, you are meant to know these things, but once you kind of get it, it does stick with you. If nothing else, drink the wine you like. Don't worry about it too much. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not meant to be overcomplicated. It's just a large topic, and it's got lots of nuances and grey areas, but learn what you can, enjoy it. That's what it's there for. It's a drink at the end of the day. So until next wine, until next time. I like that. Until next wine, enjoy your wine. Cheers.